Okay, we have a Kavo 6500B handpiece here. I'm going to show you how to change the turbine. These are the tools you'll probably need: an end cap wrench, cotton swab, explorer. That should about do it. The first thing you want to do, of course, is remove the back cap. Back cap or end cap, they're kind of referred to each. And take it out. When you remove it, you'll want to see that, and kind of as you pull this off the end cap, you want to make sure that that bearing, the rear bearing, does not come apart. You want to look and make sure you have all the parts. This turbine should look identical to the new turbine you have from us. So set the old one aside so you don't get them confused. Then what I like to do next is take the old O-rings out, set those aside once again so you don't get confused. There's one in the head of the handpiece. There's a groove down inside of there. You'll find the O-ring. And there's one in the end cap. Once again, there's a groove. This one you can see pretty easy. You just pluck that out, set that aside. Then in the back cap you have a spring washer, and it's usually best to just go ahead and reuse the ones that are in the handpiece, and we do send a couple new ones with, so you can use those if you need to, if you lose one. Then you're going to want to take your turbine out of the package. And it should look just like the turbine you took out. And this, I should mention that this is also for a Kavo 6000. The installation process is identical on either the 6000 or the Kavo 6500. This just happens to be a Kavo 6500. So then what I like to do is make sure these are cleaned up. Usually you can just use your finger, use the cotton swab a little bit, clean up those spring washers. Then you also want to take your cotton swab. This one happens to be really clean, but clean the inside up. If you need to, put a little lubricant in there to clean, a little rubbing alcohol, either one. Make sure it's all dried out and cleaned up. Nice. Same thing with the back cap, end cap. Once everything's out, go ahead and just swab around in there. Kind of look at it. If you want to use an air syringe on either end of these to blow debris out. Lubricant, alcohol, don't use anything like a solvent like WD-40, anything like that, because if there's any left over, it will damage your bearings in a big hurry. So then next, put the spring washer down in the end cap, make sure it's centered in the end cap there, and flush down on the bottom. Take one of the new O-rings we supplied, find that groove, and this will just seat right into that groove. Use the Explorer or just your finger to kind of push that in, make sure it's seated in there, and that spring washer stayed centered and flush with the bottom. Then next, for the handpiece itself, same thing, put the spring washer in, make sure it centers up in there, then drop your O-ring in, and this O-ring will actually kind of capture that spring washer, so it usually can't actually fall out, but it can become off center or like kind of popped up, not flush with the bottom. So same thing, once you have this in, you want to use that, or sometimes you can just go ahead and use the butt end of the Q-tip cotton swab. Then I typically like on these handpieces to put the end cap on this rear bearing first. You can gently rock it on, don't force it, it'll snap on there. Give the end cap a spin, make sure it's all good to go. Then you'll put this in the head. Make sure it kind of seats. Make sure you don't cross thread it. You can back it up a little bit if you have to. In fact, that one looks like it's being a little tricky. Tighten it down, and then you're ready to run it. Before you actually run it, would tighten this. After finger tight, it's just snug. You know, you don't want to over tighten it, but you don't want the end cap to come off either. Then plug it onto your coupler, hit the rheostat. It should take off like brand new. Like I said, it should run just like perfect, just like new. If it doesn't, you know, you do always want to spin this burr first before you run it, and make sure that there's no resistance. It just should spin real freely. If it does, run it. If not, you may want to take it out, make sure those spring washers that I showed you are in there properly, and the O-rings are, and there's nothing left behind. But other than that, it's a very straightforward process, and if you have any questions, you can always give us a call at 1-800-950-9431. Thank you.